Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This time it's going to be of the brand new Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts Hell's Paradise Yuzuriha figure. Very excited to finally have this figure here. If you saw my video, I think about 6 months ago at this point, where I was talking about the pre-order images of this figure, you would know I was kind of surprised that Tamashii Nations decided to make this character. It seems like Tamashii Nations is a little reluctant to make certain female characters, but since this particular character is pretty important to Hell's Paradise, I guess they decided to go ahead and make this figure. And hey, I don't mind. I think that this character is very cool. Just want to let you guys know, as we're getting towards the end of the year, some of the reviews might be a little sparse on the channel. I don't really know what else is going to be coming in before the end of the year, so we'll have to wait and see. This might be one of the last reviews you see this year, because I'm going to be pretty busy too. Anyway, let's go ahead take a look at the packaging. It's very nice. I love the greens and pinks on here. Bandai Namco, the Tamashii Nations quality sticker. You also have the figure of the box, some of the contents there. Yuzuriha on the left. An image of the figure right there and some promotional images, as well as right there where it says SH Figuarts. It would also say, I believe that's supposed to say Hell's Paradise. And then Tamashii Nations Bandai, and I still don't know what's going on with this sticker here. On this side here, it just says SH Figuarts, Yuzuriha. Really nice splatters of different colors, like purple, green, and white there. A little bit of black and pink all throughout. I really love the color choices that they have on these. And then on this side here, you do see a full body image of the figure right there. Again, the character's name. When we look on the top of the box, it does just say SH Figuarts, as well as Yuzuriha, an image of the figure right there. On the bottom here, an image of the figure on the left, and then the support information right there, the website and number. On the back, you do see right there images of different poses and accessories with this figure there. Simple style and heroic action, a bunch of other stuff there. And then down here, it does say ages 15 and up, and a barcode in case you need it. So let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. So here's the figure out of the packaging. Honestly, I dig this figure quite a bit. I do think it's a little bit better than Sagiri. I don't know if I would say it's better than Gabimaru just yet. I do have a couple things with how they approach some things about this figure that I'm not a big fan of, and there's a couple minor issues with my particular figure. Other than that, very nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, then we'll take a close look at the figure. First accessory I want to talk about is this face here with the tongue sticking out a little bit. I think a little bit of skin tone is actually piercing through just a little bit above the tongue, but it's really hard to tell. It's kind of sculpted, but it's mostly just painted there. A little bit of sculpting in the mouth, of course, and then you do have the eyes right there, very nicely printed, I think, and then the eyebrows nicely raised. Eyelashes look good, and then the sideburns, there's kind of a basic sculpt here with some paint going on there. Not too bad. You do also have this smiling face here, where the teeth and the tongue and like the inside of the mouth there, the separation of colors there is really clean. There's no paint splotching. We also have some raised eyebrows there, and then the printing on the eyes is really good too. All the printing on the eyes is really good. The ear sculpts too are really good. One thing I want to mention, they might have just, I could be wrong, it looks like the mouths for pretty much all of the open mouth faces, maybe these face plates aren't the exact same. This one looks a little bit longer for some reason, or maybe I'm just holding it differently. I want to say they might be almost the exact same sculpt. I wouldn't really put it past them if they just did a little bit of different paint with this one compared to this one. They were the same sculpt, but I don't think they are the exact same sculpt. I could be wrong. But these are a little bit more bent eyebrows there, as you see. So it's more. This is more of her doing like smiling while she's doing like different actions. I do wish we had more of like a serious fighting face, because sometimes she does have a serious face, but she's known to smile pretty much throughout the whole series, so can't really blame them for giving us really only smile expressions. And then I think my favorite here is the close-eyed, open mouth expression here. Very nicely done, very cute. I do think that the eyelashes and the eyebrows are really good, and the mouth paint there is really sick. Okay, so weapon-wise, it's interesting because we do have the katana here that does have some pretty good paint on the handle, a little bit of silver on some areas, a little bit of glossy black there. And they have a little bit of white paint on here. I think the white is splotching a little bit on this, like, almost, it looks like a slightly greenish gray almost for the rest of the, the hilt here, or the sheath, I should say. It's not, yeah, this is the hilt, sorry. I'm not even going to pretend to act like I know how a katana works. But this is on a ball joint. It can move a little bit, and she does have a port on her back, if I cannot get my fat fingers to cover it. And it's a little bit difficult to pour in here, but once you feel it going in there, yeah, you'll hear a little bit of a pop and it goes in there. It will swivel. It's a little bit tight, but it swivels pretty decently. And all the packaging, it's packaged like this, but you can like twist around to go all the other way. This does not come out though. This is a fixed handle, so she doesn't come with an actual separate katana like Sagiri does, and you know Gabimara just comes with the katana that's not sheathed. So I wish I don't really remember her actually using it in season 1, but I do wish they actually gave her the katana. You know, that's a little weird that they didn't actually give her one. So, but we do have some actual weapons. The kunai here, there's 2 of the exact same ones. These could maybe be used for Naruto figures. The handles might be a little bit too small for some Naruto characters though. But they're molded in this type of plastic. I think there's a little bit of paint in here to where it looks very cool with how it's like a metallic type of detailing, very dark gray. It's all one color. Holes right here if you want to put some string in there for any reason. Let's go over the hands really quick. We have these open, expressive hands for when she's doing different poses. You can call these jazz hands if you want. The light might be a little too bright, but the detailing on the fingernails is pretty good, I'd say. Detailing the palms is also pretty nice. We also have some these are just posing hands for different types of actions, like she's about to grab something or just different types of poses. The palm detail is pretty good. The pinky and index finger are nicely separated, and then the rest of the fingernails are nicely done. And then last but not least, she has gripping hands here for the kunai. She could kind of grip the katana. I did it on the Instagram live stream not too long before I filmed this part of the review. She could kind of grab it, but it stretches out the plastic too much, so I don't really recommend her grabbing it. These are pretty small grips there, so they're really only meant for the kunai. But these are also done pretty nice. So I do wish she maybe came with an actual sword, maybe some removable canisters for her, you know, slime technique, or just like a separate one that didn't even need to be holstered. And maybe like a more combative, angrier face. But we have a decent amount of stuff here. So starting off the detail with the head and faces. This particular face is pretty good. There is a black speck right underneath the nose that I just cannot seem to get off. It's not super noticeable in the viewfinder. It's a little bit more noticeable in person. I could try to scratch it off later, but I'm going to have to be careful about it. It's a little annoying. I think Sagiri had it a little bit worse. I forgot to mention, you just pop the face off like that, and this actually popped on a little too easily. I think the first time it was popping off a little bit harder, more secure. So I don't know if that's going to be like that over time or just with only minimal use of popping these faces off. But this bang piece, you guys are familiar with how that works. It's all one color. The separation of the front and back pieces there is a little distracting. I think I don't feel like it was that bad when I popped it off during the live stream, but I don't know. It's definitely apparent no matter what, but it's not too bad, really. I mean, how else are you going to be able to swap the faces out? We do have, I think, I want to say some parts of the purple in her hair might not be super consistent, but that might just be the lighting. A lot of these strands, like her bangs, that all looks really good. This more basic face here with a little bit of a smirk there is pretty nice. The way that her hair is bunned up and all that, very cool. Some softer plastic areas, and some of these are a little bit harder plastic, so be careful moving these around. These aren't articulated at all, and you might accidentally snap something. The back strand here, there's like this back ponytail. That all looks really good. And actually, the hairpin in there, the sculpting and details, the paint, that looks kind of hard to really get in there and get it right. So I think they did a really good job. There's no gold, from what I can tell, or pink on the hair, so that is very impressive. I dig that. So I do think that this does suffer a little bit from glossy skin, like they've been doing with a lot of the Vietnam figures, or that's just how they've been finished, I guess. It's definitely not as bad as, I think, do I have her around here? Sagiri's, I think, is a little bit worse if I compare it. They might be the same. And actually, it's worse on Sagiri. Look at her face alone is glossier than her whole face and chest. So there's that. None of these are as bad as Power when it came out in May, though. That Power figure looked like a bootleg, and it was not. So, but what they did here, some of the joints are a little bit more exposed. She does have bare arms, so it can look a little weird with how, her body, body type with all this is supposed to look. But how else are you going to get this articulation in here? And I don't think it's too bad. They could have done what they did with Sakura from last year, and there was just like a big, ugly joint piece back here, but they covered that, so that's cool. But when you bend the elbows, though, it not only is, I mean, it's a good enough bend. It definitely is a good bend. But not only is it not a complete, yeah, I mean, you know, if it was like that, that could be a little bit better. But this is also really blocky, is what I'm trying to say. Range of motion is good, but with that range of motion, you get blockiness in the elbows. It really not that big of a deal, like I said. It's just something I noticed when I was messing around with this. Paint on the forearm here, actually really good. The color separation is really good. And we do have just fists right there. These look good. And then the inside here, all that skin tone, it looks a little bit glossier here, but then this piece here, it looks a little bit more, it's still pretty glossy near the armpit there, but it's less glossy here than in like the actual joint. And somehow like the chest is glossier and all that. And then we do have actually really nice seam lines sculpted here going on the inside of her chest piece there. And this is a softer plastic piece. Just wanted to mention, it's kind of like what they did with Beast Gohan, what they're going to do with the Kid Gohan coming out next year. But you see that sculpted, you know, articulation in the abs there. You get nothing because of this. Yes, again, it is a bit of a softer plastic, but it really is not very flexible at all. And then that's what the back looks like. You can maybe port a Tamashii base peg in there, but I wouldn't really recommend it. It's really only meant for the katana holster, or, you know, just the whole katana, I guess. These, I do wish that one of these would separate and be an actual accessory. These little slime canisters, they are painted nicely though. A little bit of white bleeding onto, I don't really know what this color is, like a brownish, almost greenish. So that could be a little bit better. But this little like soft plastic for the waist piece there, you know, that's actually not too bad. These pieces though from the back, you know, these are a softer plastic, but they don't get in the way. I do wish there was maybe somehow a bendy wire, but I don't really care about that too much. These are ported in there, but they are sticking out a little too much if you ask me. It's not the end of the world. All the purple on here, before I keep going, is very consistent. I forgot to mention, okay, maybe this part here is a little bit darker compared to this and the knee. Other than that, like in person, it's all very consistent, I would say. What I don't think is consistent is how they did the hips here. So the exposed upper part of the hip near the canisters, you can see that that is painted on there. And then this is still painted, but it's almost like molded as well. So that's a little bit more pale, and this is a little bit like brighter skin tone. So it really doesn't match up too well. It's the same way on the other side. Then the left outer thigh here, you can see that scuff there. I can maybe try to get that off later. It's a little distracting. I think those are like, besides that one faceplate and then maybe a couple other things and then this, I think that's all for like paint QC. That's not great. That was a hair. Okay, sorry about that. I thought something was broken into plastic, but that was one of my nasty. Yeah, what the heck is going on? Sorry. Let's see. So down in the lower, you know, torso area, just more wrinkling. You know, you have that whole piece here. I don't know how this outfit works, but you have this piece that I mean, let's see. So that is sculpted on to here, and then this is supposed to look like this is part of that, which looks like it's overlaps on that, but this is a separate piece, and then that's a separate piece. So that's interesting. I never really realized that. Let's back out a little bit. The birds are really loud. I'm sorry. Pretty nice wrinkles throughout all of the legs. Again, now that I've mentioned it and finally looked at it, the thigh pieces are a little, yeah, that inconsistency can be a little apparent, but I do think depending on your lighting, it brings it out a little bit more. But yes, it's not grand. The one thing I do want to mention, which is kind of fitting with this character, is there's like oil in some areas. They must have oiled up the joints, but like mostly in the thigh area, you're going to get some oil. There might be a tiny bit of scuffing when I rotate these thighs too. And then when a little bit of oil in the ball jointed waist as well when that was moving around. But the rest of the wrinkles, again, looking really good. These boot pieces here, like the black right there, this does not move here, but the paint separation with the black and the purple looking really good. Did I say blue instead of purple earlier? I don't know. But this is all just one sleek matte black here, a little bit glossy, and then the bottom of the feet, the way these these shoes or whatever, I don't know what the style of the toe thing here is. I'm sorry, but it's a little bit glossy on the front. Looking on the bottom there, pretty glossy. I don't think it's too bad though. But that all looks actually really good. And then these kind of look a little too much like ball joints. I mean, they are, but The ball, like the circularness is a little too apparent, but it's actually not too bad, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so the way that they did a lot of the aesthetics is really good. It's just some inconsistencies in some of the colors. I apologize in this next section if it sounds like I'm choking on water because I basically just did, but I did want to pop this face off and show off something for the articulation. I think that the top part of the dumbbell joint is going into the head is a little too tight. This range of motion right here, I think, is only coming from into the neck that goes into the torso, but a lot of you are familiar with how they do, you know, the head system now with the dumbbell joint. And the range of motion on here is really good. The side to side is terrific. And you also have that added range of motion at the neck going into the torso. Because her hair is shorter, her head can go up. I wish it went up a little bit farther, but that's not too bad. The down, with all that combined range of motion, this pops off a little bit. There we go. That's actually really nice. Then swiveling, no problem there. I do think that even though I don't love how this hinders this right here, this does, you know, this vest piece does cover, from the front at least, the butterfly joint. Now, when you look at the side, it's very apparent, but it's whatever with me. It can go side to side here. It does give a little bit of leeway because that's soft plastic. It can shift up and down there. Really nice range of motion going all the way around. Arms go out like this. That's really impressive. Upper bicep swivel where you do meet the black bands around her biceps. Again, I mentioned this already, but that's still a good double joint elbow. We have a swivel here and then a hinge here. Very, you know, standard wrist articulation. Again, if you grab something, you can maybe move that ab, but you're really going to get the range of motion in the ball joint here. So side to side, rotation's fine. The back is still actually, maybe it's because I moved the legs. When you move this back, it's actually not too bad. And then moving forward, it might be stressing something. It might be bent, you know, it might be scuffing something. Yeah, I'm not going to do that too often. But forward could be better. Legs don't really drop down, but they kick out. I think they could be slightly better, but it's still pretty good. The back motion, not so much. Yeah. Almost perfect splits. That's really good. And then, let's see, nothing in there. But we do have a thigh swivel here. Double jointed knee, swivel at the ankles a little bit tight there. The down and up on these are really good. Ankle rocker. And then you cannot move these toes down. At least I can't do it. But they move up very nice. So depending on if you want to go to the top of the actual head or her bun, it's going to be around 14.5 to 15 centimeters, maybe a little bit taller than that. And we're looking at around the 5 3/4 mark, maybe just a little bit under 6 inches. As you can see, she's going to be shorter than Sagiri because Sagiri is very tall. And she's going to be a little bit taller than Gabimaru. I believe all three of these size comparisons here with the Hell's Paradise figures, they're accurate. Over on the far left, we have Lloyd that came out last month. He's going to be super tall compared to all of them. And then a Marvel Legends figure is going to be taller than Yuzuriha. So I've been messing around with this figure throughout the day, and I do think it's a little bit better than Sagiri, but I still don't think it's as good as Gabimaru. It's still a really solid figure on its own. The minor things about it that I'm not liking are that there's some discoloration in some areas. It's mostly the thigh pieces, the purple there not being consistent with the rest of the purple. And then the exposed hip areas, there's some inconsistencies with the skin tone as well. A couple of splotches on her left outer thigh, and the face she comes packaged with, the nose has a speck there as well. A little bit of glassiness on her as well. And I do think she maybe could have come with an actual katana, as well as maybe a more serious fighting face and maybe a slime canister. But the rest of this figure is really awesome. The accessories that we do have here, the different faces, the kunai are cool, the different hands that you need for different poses that she does. You can get her into pretty much any pose that she does in the anime and manga, which is really cool to see. And the articulation is awesome. Most of the detailing and sculpting is very top-notch too. Some of the articulation, it's mostly the waist area is a little bit hindered, but the rest of the articulation rocks. This is a very solid figure. I am very glad that I did pick it up. I got mine for a little bit under $65, including shipping at Hobby Genki. Don't know if they have any more in stock, but I'll leave some links down in the description below where you can get this figure. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below. Just think about the figure, just think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.